With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
And away we go. Episode 1338 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. It is the first day of the Washington Commanders' second of three-day sessions of OTAs this offseason. And this is the day after a monster news day in the NFL. Monday was someday in terms of NFL news. And while the following may not have been the biggest item nationally, this item may well be very relevant to us as Washington Commanders fans. Emerging on Monday afternoon was that estranged San Francisco 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk on his Instagram account was following just 3 accounts. His wife, the Washington Commanders, and Washington's QB1, Jayden Daniels. Yet another sign that Ayuk wants Washington. Whether the Commanders will acquire Ayuk remains to be seen. Hello and welcome to this Tuesday installment of the Al Galdi podcast. Next segment, analysis of the Monday NFL items most important to us as Washington Commanders fans, as I'll discuss notable comments from Washington's WR1, Terry McLaurin on The Rich Eisen Show on Disney Plus and ESPN Radio, on Washington's QB1, Jayden Daniels, and on Washington's new offensive coordinator, David Blough. I'll react to this latest development in the Brandon Ayuk saga. I'll assess not one, but 2 major trades in the NFL, in the New England Patriots acquiring Philadelphia Eagles receiver A.J. Brown and the Los Angeles Rams acquiring Cleveland Browns edge defender Myles Garrett. I'll give you thoughts on a very busy day for the New York Giants at receiver, including the return of Odell Beckham Jr., and I'll examine which quarterback from the famous 2012 NFL Draft quarterback class has had the best career off reports that Russell Wilson is retiring and becoming an NFL analyst for CBS Sports. My friends, we have a lot to go through. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Nationals, and over 2 segments, I'll first give you analysis of the Nats' 7-3 loss to the Miami Marlins at Nationals Park on Monday evening, despite starting pitcher Cade Cavalli being good for a 5th consecutive outing. And I then will discuss an off-the-field controversy for the Nats, their firing of an employee for what he said while being secretly recorded. There is a lot to this story, which has gone viral. This is a story that has gotten a lot of attention online, but interestingly, not a lot of attention on podcasts and radio shows. So I'll let you figure out why. But I will discuss the story at length later in the show. This is a podcast on which we are willing to get uncomfortable. Let's get uncomfortable. we shall do so later in the show. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. And if you on Apple Podcasts, give the podcast a 5-star rating. I on the podcast will read whatever you write in writing a review of the podcast. And what you write could be a sports take. You don't just have to write about the podcast. From Dave Russell on X, offer conversation on the Memorial Day episode of this podcast, episode 1332, with former Washington offensive coordinator Scott Turner, who gave us his thoughts on the Washington Commanders 2026 offseason, and on his dad, former Washington Redskins head coach Norv Turner. And I joke with Scott that his dad could write a heck of a book given all that he has experienced in his career, and Scott said that he actually has been trying to convince his dad to write a book. Writes Dave to Scott, just heard you with Al Galdi. Please talk your dad into writing that book. Would be thoroughly entertaining and hopefully tell what he had to endure under horrific Snyder. Also, would love to hear stories about Cook and all the players and coaches your dad has met. Thank you for that, Dave. Norv Turner, you look at what he did before he became the Redskins head coach. He was the offensive coordinator / quarterbacks coach for the Dallas Cowboys for the 1991 and 1992 seasons, then was the Cowboys assistant head coach / offensive coordinator for the 1993 season. His entire time with the Cowboys was spent working for Cowboys owner, president, and general manager Jerry Jones. So the Cowboys won the Super Bowls for the 1992 and 1993 seasons with Jimmy Johnson as head coach, and then came the famous breakup between Jones and Johnson in March 1994. So Norv was part of all of that. He had the 3 stints as an NFL head coach, including his run as Redskins head coach, February 1994 to December 2000. So just from 1991 to 2000, Norv worked for the following NFL owners: Jerry Jones, Jack Kent Cooke, and Dan Snyder. Quite the threesome. Quite the trifecta. I mean, right there are some stories to tell. There are not many coaches who can speak to having worked for the Redskins under both Jack Kent Cooke and Dan Snyder. And Norv has had various other stints as an assistant coach in the NFL. And he, early in his coaching career, was an offensive assistant for USC for the 1976 through 1984 seasons. And he was a quarterback for the University of Oregon in the 1970s. Norv backed up Dan Fouts before becoming Oregon's QB1 for the 1973 and 1974 seasons. I'm not sure the extent to which people are reading books anymore, but if people still are reading books a good bit, a book by Norv Turner on his career could do well. All right, catering by Uptown. Whatever big event that you're planning, a wedding, a party, whatever, consider using a great sponsor of this podcast, Catering by Uptown. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. Catering by Uptown is outstanding. It is a family business. It is run by the Pereiras, who are great Washington Commanders fans. Catering by Uptown is committed to meeting your every need with elegance and precision. Catering by Uptown takes care of every detail so that you can enjoy your event. And Catering by Uptown's specialty is weddings. Get excellent service at an affordable price. In fact, if you visit cateringbyuptown.com and click on venues, you can check out Catering by Uptown's premier wedding venues. Visit cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. That's cateringbyuptown.com and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. So let's unpack the biggest items relevant to the Washington Commanders from a wild Monday in the NFL. And what I most enjoyed on Monday regarding our team was what Washington's number one receiver, Terry McLaurin, had to say on the Rich Eisen show on Disney Plus and ESPN Radio, on Washington's number one quarterback, Jayden Daniels, and on Washington's new offensive coordinator, David Blough. McLaurin raved about Daniels. It was good to hear what McLaurin had to say. We, on Monday afternoon, had this exchange between Rich Eisen and Terry McLaurin.
How's your quarterback looking? How's he looking?
He looks really, really good. And since I've known Jayden since he got drafted, he's always been a focused, determined, prepared player, a young guy, but now he's a vet. And this offseason, you can tell he's taking even more of a leadership role, more initiative of putting his hands on the steering wheel of this offense. I think it's no secret that Blough wants to build this offense around him, the things that he does really well. And I mean, there's countless things he does well. And, him being able to work under center and use more of the play action is only going to not only help him, but it's going to help the receivers, going to help the O-line, the running backs, the tight ends. And so I just think the biggest thing you can tell his voice is becoming more and more loud. He's a very laid back person, but from getting us together, throwing in LA, before OTA started, to the way he's communicating in the meetings, him and I are having so many conversations, not only on the field, but through text. We were going into Memorial Day weekend, and Friday guys are doing their plans, and he's texting me about a route that we ran that day, and I'm like, all right, Five, like we kind of on the weekend now, like we could talk about this on Monday, but that's just the type of player he is. He's always locked in and focused on the task at hand, and you can just tell his personality is continuing to grow, and he's the leader that we want leading this team this year and every year. So it's just been really fun to be able to build with him. And I think for me, it's been different because I think this may be the first year I've had the same quarterback starting for 3 years. And that continuity goes such a long way. And so him and I are really, hitting a lot of early marks now in OTA. So I believe it's going to continue to build as we get throughout the offseason.
So much good stuff there from Terry McLaurin on Jayden Daniels, especially that story about the text going into Memorial Day weekend. Of all of the injuries for Washington in going 5-12 in the team's injury-ravaged 2025 regular season, the two players whose injury-induced absences hurt the most were Jayden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. Daniels played in just 7 of Washington's 17 games. McLaurin played in just 10 of Washington's 17 games. These two were so good together in Daniels' all-time great 2024 rookie season. What about this coming season? And yeah, this coming season will mark the first time that McLaurin has had the same QB1 in each of 3 consecutive seasons in his NFL career. As for David Blough, we on Monday afternoon had this exchange between Rich Eisen and Terry McLaurin.
And there's so many new offenses and new offensive coordinators around the league that I'm fascinated to see, how it plays out. It was one of them, one of 3 in the division, as a matter of fact. With the Eagles hiring a new offensive coordinator, the Giants have obviously got John Harbaugh in the mix there now, and then there's you. You mentioned David Blough, the OC, in the conversation about it's a more pro-style offense that he's bringing in. You kind of just referred to it a little bit. That is what is happening, and what more meat can you put on the bones there? What it's going to look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to give away too much, but I just know he wants to be multiple. And the first thing he said about our philosophy, he wants the same things that look different and different things that look the same. And what I take from that is you want things to marry together. You want formations that you could build off of. You have multiple formations that you could run same plays out of. You have different formations that you could give the defense a completely different look. But all encompassing, it all makes sense as an offense. For a receiver, going from no huddle to a huddle, that's different. It goes from a signal base to really being able to open your ears to what part of the play call is most important. I think I got to give Jayden a lot of credit because it seems like he's just really picked up the offense really quickly, and his calls out there when we're in OTAs are really clean and concise. So it allows the communication to be that much better. And so, I've been benefiting through OTAs of having a lot of similar stems and formations that allow me just to manipulate defenses more, manipulate the DB a lot more, and put them in a position of feeling like they maybe have to guess what I'm running because they just saw this same formation 2 or 3 plays ago, but it's a completely different concept. And as a receiver, that's music to my ears because you never want to feel like the defense has the upper hand on you. And, I feel like with this offense, we'll have a chance to not only be on the attack, but also be able to get back to things in the games that maybe been successful earlier in the first or second quarter. So I can't say enough great things about David Blough. He's an excellent communicator. He's been that way before he even got the offensive coordinator job. He's extremely personable and he's played the game. You know what I mean? He knows what it's like to be in our shoes extremely recently, and he knows the importance of putting playmakers in position to make plays. And he's been around so many talented offensive minds and offensive players. It's kind of seemed like it's come second nature for him to step into this role. And so even though this is his first opportunity, we're all excited to help support him and bring his vision to life because we all definitely believe that he has a chance to have a bright future in this league as a coach.
So what Terry McLaurin said there about this David Blough philosophy of same things looking different and different things looking the same, that is what we discussed with Washington Commanders analyst and former Washington Redskins tight end Logan Paulsen on episode 1260 of this podcast. What an NFL offense ideally does is make its passing plays and running plays look similar from a formation standpoint so that defenses don't know what the offense is about to do. The team clearly wants to be better in this regard. The team clearly wants a better marrying of formations and clearly did not think that the team's offensive coordinator for the last 2 seasons, Cliff Kingsbury, did a good job in this regard. Hope springs eternal in the NFL this time of year. I get that, but exciting to hear what Terry McLaurin had to say on Monday afternoon. Meantime, emerging on Monday afternoon was that estranged San Francisco 49ers receiver Brandon Ayuk on his Instagram account was following just 3 accounts. His wife, the Washington Commanders, and Washington's QB1, Jayden Daniels. Yes, getting caught up in who a big-time pro athlete is and is not following on social media can seem silly. But as we have learned over the years, who a big-time pro athlete is and is not following on social media can be very telling. Like, as juvenile as who a big-time pro athlete is following on social media may seem, there very much can be significance to who a big-time pro athlete is following on social media. And this so seems to be a case of there being significance, especially knowing how Brandon Ayuk is. This is another sign that Ayuk wants Washington. If, when, and by what means Washington will acquire this guy all remain up in the air. Did you happen to see or hear what ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler said on ESPN SportsCenter on Sunday morning? Take a listen.
Yeah, Brandon Ayuk's future is squarely in limbo right now. So after June 1st is when the 49ers can save about $20 million on the cap if they were to cut him. I've talked to two rival executives who believe that he's simply untradeable right now, that it's just going to be hard to move on because of the knee issue, didn't play all last year. He's kind of ghosted the 49ers at times. They haven't really had a lot of communication with him. And then you got the contract. So if he is released at some point this summer, the 49ers have a clear run rate that can save about $20 million on the cap. There will be interest at that point, certainly. Maybe they can salvage a trade. Probably not, is my feeling right now.
So per the reporting of Jeremy Fowler, the Niners doing what they pretty clearly most want to do with Brandon Ayuk, trade him, is looking increasingly unlikely. Although, as I said on last Wednesday's show, episode 1334, while I would rather Washington, if it wants Ayuk, getting him via signing him as an unrestricted free agent off him having been released by the Niners as opposed to trading something to the Niners for him, I do think that it might be worth it for Washington, if the trade compensation is low, to trade for Ayuk now or sometime soon in order to get this guy with the team for a good chunk of offseason practices and then for all of training camp, as opposed to potentially not getting him until shortly before the start of the regular season. The Niners very clearly are in no rush to release Brandon Ayuk and have no contractual reason to release Ayuk for quite some time. As for trades that have happened, two blockbuster trades in the NFL on Monday afternoon. The Philadelphia Eagles, they on Monday afternoon announced having traded receiver A.J. Brown to the New England Patriots for a first-round pick in the 2028 NFL Draft and a fifth-round pick in the 2027 NFL Draft pending a physical. And the Cleveland Browns on Monday afternoon announced having traded edge defender Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams for a haul. Edge defender Jared Verse, a first-round pick in the 2027 NFL Draft, a second-round pick in the 2028 NFL Draft, and a third-round pick in the 2029 NFL Draft. The A.J. Brown trade we all saw coming. The Myles Garrett trade, not so much. A.J. Brown killed Washington over his 4 seasons with the Eagles, 2022 through 2025. Brown, in his NFL career, 7 regular season games against Washington, 45 receptions for 654 yards and 6 touchdowns on 70 targets. And we recall what he did in the NFC Championship game for the 2024 season, Washington's 55-23 loss at Philadelphia on January 26, 2025. Brown had 6 receptions for 96 yards and a touchdown on 8 targets. But their last season were some signs of decline from Brown. He's entering his age 29 season, and Eagles Executive Vice President and General Manager Howie Roseman is an elite NFL executive. I don't like saying that, but that is the truth. Roseman is elite. He knows when to move off players. Brown with the Patriots is reunited with Pats head coach Mike Vrabel, who was the Titans head coach during Brown's first 3 NFL seasons, all with the Titans 2019 through 2021. Here was ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes on ESPN's NFL Live on Monday afternoon on the A.J. Brown trade.
It's really exciting. Very good fit with the quarterback. Drake May is an aggressive thrower of the football, loves throwing it downfield. He's very accurate throwing it downfield. A.J. Brown is excellent, really at all 3 levels, but contested catch situations, red zone. You like the makeup of the receiver group now, which is really remade, right, with Romeo Doubs as a 2 and a mixture of Hollins, Douglas. We'll see what Kayshon Boutte's role is. And I'll add this, I think So when we think about A.J. Brown and his skill set, the number one thing that comes to mind is his ability to beat man coverage. Statistically, he's been the best receiver in man coverage in football the last few years, and press. And while during the regular season, the Patriots receivers were very effective in that regard, I think in the postseason, you saw the group get a little exposed. Now, they're not the only problem. It was the offensive line. Drake May struggled as well. But something that caught my eye in the postseason, I looked this up, against press coverage, Patriots receivers only caught 23% of Drake May's throws. So I feel like A.J. Brown is a solution to a problem that did show up a little bit later in the year. And it's just a really great fit for this quarterback. And also, by the way, yes, they're not the Rams, but the Pats were in the Super Bowl last year. So it makes sense that they're trying to take advantage of the rookie quarterback's contract to win now.
As for the Myles Garrett trade, here was ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter on ESPN's NFL Live on Monday afternoon.
We have the biggest trade of the NFL offseason, arguably the biggest defensive trade in NFL history. The Cleveland Browns are sending defending Defensive Player of the Year Myles Garrett to the Los Angeles Rams in return for two-time Pro Bowl edge Jared Verse, a first-round pick in 27, a second-round pick in 28, a third-round pick in 29. A 1, 2, 3, and Jared Verse. Myles Garrett gets a new home, and just like the Rams, made a big, bold move in 2021 when Los Angeles was hosting a Super Bowl, and the Rams traded for Matthew Stafford. The Rams have done it again with Los Angeles getting ready to host another Super Bowl this upcoming season, trading for Myles Garrett, who they've been trying now to get for weeks and finally able to get the deal done today.
So the Rams, once again, are all in as the F them picks philosophy continues. F them picks. That philosophy helped the Rams win the Super Bowl for the 2021 season. Heck, Rams general manager Les Snead, he at the Rams Super Bowl parade and rally in February 2022 wore a t-shirt that actually said F them picks. And he in his speech at the rally actually said F them picks. Take a listen.
So in honor of the shirt, F them picks, we'll use them to go win more Super Bowls.
Yeah, F them picks. I find the F them picks team building philosophy so interesting. Les Snead has been the Rams general manager since February 2012. So he was the GM when the Washington Redskins and St. Louis Rams made the famous RG3 trade in March 2012. The Skins, in order to move up from the number 6 overall pick in the 2012 NFL draft to the number 2 overall pick, traded that number 6 overall pick, 2013 and 2014 first-round picks, and a 2012 second-round pick to the Rams, who actually ended up not getting all that much out of those picks. And I've always wondered if Snead's experience with that trade has been a major reason for his F them picks philosophy. But the Rams have done really well in this era of F them picks, and a major reason for that is that Les Snead has done really well when it comes to his non-first-round picks. I mean, you look at the Rams. They did not take a player with a first-round pick in each of 7 consecutive NFL drafts, 2017 through 2023, and also didn't take a player with a first-round pick in the 2025 NFL draft, and yet the Rams, over the last 9 seasons, 2017 through 2025, all with former Redskins offensive coordinator Sean McVay as head coach, have been great. They hired him as head coach in January 2017. He is Rams head coach, has a regular season record of 92-57 and a postseason record of 10-6, won a Super Bowl and 2 NFC championships. I would love for our team to be like the Rams. I would love for Washington general manager Adam Peters to be like Rams general manager Les Snead. But, doing that would require being great at non-first-round picks, and we haven't yet seen that from Peters. Maybe we will. Hopefully we will, but we can't say that just yet. There's also this with the Myles Garrett trade. Garrett had a no-trade clause, so he had to approve a trade to a team. Who knows if he would have approved a trade to Washington. And the Rams had a really good player in Jared Verse to trade to the Browns. Who, along those lines, would Washington have had to trade to the Browns? They're with the Rams trading for Myles Garrett also is this, from a Washington perspective. Washington's NFC East rival, the Philadelphia Eagles, did not get Garrett, even though they wanted Garrett. I read to you from a good friend of this podcast, NFL draft analyst Ryan Fowler of NBC Sports Philadelphia. He on Monday afternoon in a post on X said this, quote, "The Eagles' interest in Myles Garrett was more than exploratory per source. Ultimately seems like Jared Verse / 27 first greater than some combination of Nolan Smith or Jalix Hunt / combo of picks forced a clear tipping point in talks. Jalen Carter was a name that arose in talks, I'm told, but zero potential framework revolved around the Eagles star up front," end quote. The Eagles getting Garrett would not have been good. Also regarding the NFC East, a notorious Washington killer, receiver Odell Beckham Jr., he is back in the division. The New York Giants on Monday afternoon announced having signed 2 unrestricted free agent receivers, Odell Beckham and Braxton Berrios. And we on Monday afternoon had reports that the Giants are signing unrestricted free agent receiver Juju Smith-Schuster. But OBJ, ODB, he is back with the Giants. The Giants took Odell Beckham with the number 12 overall pick in the 2014 NFL draft out of LSU. He played for the Giants for the 2014 through 2018 seasons, was very productive, but he's bounced around the NFL in recent years, has played for the Cleveland Browns, Los Angeles Rams, Baltimore Ravens, and Miami Dolphins. He has not played in 2 of the last 4 NFL regular seasons, did not play at all in the 2022 regular season, did not play at all in the 2025 regular season. The 2026 season would be his age 34 season. We'll see what he has left. He has killed our team, Washington, 7 career regular season games, 52 receptions for 724 yards and 5 touchdowns on 77 targets, but that production did come years ago now. Here's the big question, though, with what the Giants did at receiver on Monday. What might this say about the status of their WR1 Malik Nabers? Malik Nabers, who the Giants took with the number 6 overall pick in the 2024 NFL draft out of LSU, for which he was Jayden Daniels' number 1 receiver. Nabers in the Giants' 21-18 home win over the Los Angeles Chargers this past September 28th suffered a torn right ACL. He has undergone not 1 but 2 surgeries on the knee since suffering the injury, and his availability for week 1 of the 2026 regular season is up in the air, and emerging online has been video of him not running well while playing in a softball game. This was Adam Schefter on the Pat McAfee Show on Monday afternoon on Malik Nabers.
I think you watch what you watch, you see what you see, and you know that he's trying to make his way back from a second knee surgery that was done to clean up the scar tissue, address some of the stiffness in there. And I think it's a case where the Giants have said all along, they're hopeful. That's the word they've used, Pat, hopeful, that he plays on that Sunday night opener against the Dallas Cowboys. But again, I think that they're not counting on him being ready, and it certainly doesn't look like he's close to being ready.
Yeah, things right now not looking so great for Malik Nabers being ready for week 1 of the 2026 regular season. And also on Monday, reports on Monday afternoon that quarterback Russell Wilson is retiring and taking a job as an NFL analyst for CBS Sports. Wilson retiring means that there is just 1 remaining active quarterback from the famous 2012 NFL draft quarterback class. I'll let you figure out who that quarterback is. Hint, he used to play for the Washington Redskins, but his name is not Robert Griffin III. We on this podcast refer to this quarterback as you know who, because the mere mention of his name triggers people in all kinds of ways. But you know what? For the purpose of this discussion, will say his name. Kirk Cousins, the notable quarterbacks from the 2012 NFL draft. Andrew Luck, who the Indianapolis Colts took with the number 1 overall pick. Robert Griffin III, who the Washington Redskins took with the number 2 overall pick. Ryan Tannehill, who the Miami Dolphins took with the number 8 overall pick. Brandon Weeden, who the Cleveland Browns took with the number 22 overall pick. Brock Osweiler, who the Denver Broncos took in the 2nd round. Russell Wilson, who the Seattle Seahawks took in the 3rd round. Nick Foles, who the Philadelphia Eagles took in the 3rd round. And Kirk Cousins, who the Washington Redskins took in the 4th round. But out of all of those guys and the rest of the quarterbacks taken in that draft, only Kirk Cousins is still active in the NFL. The Las Vegas Raiders this past April 6th announced having signed Cousins as an unrestricted free agent. Who ultimately had the best career of the quarterbacks taken in the 2012 NFL Draft? Not an easy question to answer. Depends on what you want to go by. But if you go by team success, Russell Wilson has had the best career. He is Seattle Seahawks QB1, won the Super Bowl for the 2013 season, and made the Super Bowl for the 2014 season. And the Seahawks defensive coordinator for those two seasons was current Washington head coach Dan Quinn, right, who presided over the Seahawks' legendary Legion of Boom defenses. But neither Andrew Luck nor RG3 nor you-know-who has made a Super Bowl. Russell Wilson made 2 Super Bowls and won one of them. Hey, please consider subscribing to this podcast if you're not already doing that. Subscribing to the podcast costs nothing. Make sure that you never miss an episode and helps out the podcast a lot. And if you're already subscribing, thank you. Look, choosing life insurance is tricky. Heck, life insurance as a topic can be uncomfortable, but Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Al Galdi. That's ethos.com/Al Galdi. Ethos.com/Al Galdi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary.
With the new MyLowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Well, the next quest for the Washington Nationals and them doing surprisingly well in MLB's 2026 regular season is to get to 3 games above 500. The Nats have not been at least 3 games above 500, at least this deep into a regular season, since ending the 2019 regular season at 93-69. And the Nats on Monday evening came up short in a chance to get to 3 games above 500. A 7-3 loss to the Miami Marlins at Nationals Park in Game 1 of a 3-game series, dropping the Nats to 31-30, including just 1-3 against the Marlins. So the Nats lost 2 out of 3 games at the Marlins May 8th through the 10th. The Marlins are just 27-34, and this game on Monday evening was a game in which the Nats blew a 3-1 6th-inning lead. The Nats lost this game despite starting pitcher Cade Cavalli being good for a 5th consecutive outing. So good to see him doing so well here these days. He officially allowed 2 runs in 5 innings with 6 strikeouts. He gave up 5 hits, which were a double and 4 singles. Did issue 3 walks. Did throw a lot of pitches, but also a lot of strikes. He over his 5 innings threw 89 pitches, 58 strikes, 31 balls, and 46 of the 89 pitches came over the first 2 innings. Cavalli in the top of the first allowed a run on a single and 3 walks, including a 2-out, bases-loaded 5-pitch walk of Owen Casey for a 1-0 Marlins lead. Cavalli in that Marlins 1-run first threw 24 pitches, and Cavalli tossed a scoreless top of the second despite giving up 2 singles. He in that inning threw 22 pitches. So he over his first 2 innings labored big time, threw a lot of pitches. That has been a problem for him, but he, to his credit, righted himself, as we have seen him do, and he ended up having a good outing. Cade Cavalli now for this regular season, 13 games, all starts, ERA of 3.62, whip of 1.42, strikeouts per 9 innings of 10.3. We continue to see growth in Cade Cavalli. Here was Nats manager Blake Butera during his postgame press conference on Monday night on Cade Cavalli, and then you'll hear multiple follow-up exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, he threw a lot of pitches in those first couple innings there. Had to work really hard to get out of it. Fortunately, found a way to get out of that first one with just one, and those next handful, not giving up any runs. He did a nice job of settling in there and gave our offense a chance to get the lead there and got us into the sixth inning, which was nice after the way it started.
An adjustment or anything that you saw to, bounce back from those, the first two innings?
No, I mean, just 3 walks in that first inning. I think he didn't have any the rest of the way. I think he just attacked the zone a little bit better, whether it was mechanics, timing, not sure exactly, but he looked like he was in more of a rhythm after those first couple innings and settled in there. Like I said, what was looking like, a long first couple innings with the pitch count, he was able to get it back down those next few innings.
When has Cade shown you that you have the trust in him, that after a rough first inning, you stuck with him for as long as you did?
Yeah, he's such a competitor, and he does such a really good job of pinpointing what it is, and Simon Matthews meets with him in between innings and helps him kind of work through what he's seeing as well. They talk, they make sure it's figured out before that next inning, and he's done a really good job of being able to get back on focus.
All right, so Cade Cavalli in this 7-3 loss to the Marlins at Nationals Park on Monday evening did well, but the Nats relief pitching in this game was not good. 3 Nats relievers combined to allow 5 runs in 4 innings. Richard Lovelady officially allowed 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. He came into the game in the top of the 6th with a runner on first, no outs, and the Nats holding a 3-1 lead. And Lovelady, to the first batter he faced, gave up a pinch 2-run homer by Heriberto Hernandez to left field to tie the game at 3. The homer went a projected 406 feet per Statcast. Lovelady then issued a hit by pitch of Jacob Marcy and gave up a 1-out opposite field RBI double by Connor Norby off the top of the infield dirt and into right field foul territory for a 4-3 Marlins lead. Now, Paxton Schultz was great. He tossed 2 1/3 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts. He threw just 30 pitches, 21 strikes versus 9 balls. But Cole Henry allowed 3 runs in 1 inning. He, in the top of the 9th, allowed 3 runs as he gave up a 1-out first pitch homer by Liam Hicks to right field for a 5-3 Marlins lead, and gave up a 1-out 2-run homer by Kyle Stowers to right field on a 1-2 pitch for a 7-3 Marlins lead. Henry also gave up a single and issued a walk, did record 2 strikeouts, but he in his inning threw 32 pitches. So Paxton Schultz was great, but Richard Lovelady and Cole Henry struggled. A lot of conversation during Blake Butera's postgame press conference on Monday night about what happened with Lovelady, who for this regular season for the Nats has a whip of 1.80. He has put a lot of guys on base, even though his ERA is just 3.24, but for relievers, whip can be more telling than ERA because allowing inherited runners to score does not hurt a relief pitcher's ERA. We, during Butera's postgame press conference on Monday night, had these exchanges.
You've had either 3 or 4 lefties in your bullpen for most of the season. When you have only 2 guys out there, does that change the complexion of how you game plan or are able to manage it at all?
Yeah, definitely, and especially against this left-hand heavy lineup. We only had 2 left-handers out of the pen, of course, tonight. Wanted to be strategic with where to use them. Thought the pocket of the 3 in a row right there, starting with Casey, was where we wanted to use Lovelady. And, you forced their hand to pinch hit early in the 6th inning to create a right-handed pocket for the rest of our bullpen later. But, we fell behind 3-1 there, and Hernandez got him.
Is that part of the calculation, knowing that they might bring in a right-hander there, or is that just something?
Yeah. So we liked didn't work out, but was fully planning on Hernandez to pinch hit there, and still like the matchup on him. Instead of, Cade facing Casey, and then 2 more lefties right after that when he's coming up on 90 pitches after how he had to go through those first couple innings. Look, he wants the ball. He wants to be out there, of course, but we would have been getting into that dangerous territory if we stuck with him the rest of that inning. And given the fact that it was a bunch of lefties right there in a row, that was, I thought, the time to do it.
Lovelady was off to such a strong start here. What have you seen from him in his last 2 outings that has differed from how he was, a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, I mean, today, he got beat because he fell behind 3-1 there. When you're behind 3-1, left-handed facing a righty, it's tough. And, he got a good pitch to hit, and he hit him. And the key for Lovelady has been just getting ahead and being able to expand the zone a little bit with his slider. That's really good.
All right. The Nats, for all of their recent success, which has featured improved pitching, still have one of the worst team ERAs in MLB, 4.63. Now, the Nats, of course, also have one of the best offenses in MLB, but the Nats offense in this 7-3 loss to the Marlins at Nationals Park on Monday evening was not good. Just 3 runs, just 7 hits, which were a home run, and 6 singles, just 1 walk, 1 for 2 with runners in scoring position. The Nats struggled against Marlins starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara, who allowed 3 runs in 7 innings with 5 strikeouts versus no walks. Now, the Nats scored 2 runs in the bottom of the second and a run in the bottom of the third, so it looked like the Nats might do well against Alcantara, but he ended up having a nice final line. The homer for the Nats, though, was by Jacob Young. Yes, he homered again.
Young drives one to deep left. That ball's touched. Stowers back, looking up, it's out of here! Strength from Jacob Young. Now 8 on the year for JY, and the Nats have a 2-1 lead here in the second.
Perfect example. Staying through a baseball. You get beat a little bit, but you just stay through it, and you clip it perfect. This curveball up in the zone, just enough. And JY with another. May was not a fluke. He started off June with another.
Dan Kolko and Kevin Franzen on Nationals.tv. Jacob Young, as the Nats starting center fielder and number 6 batter, went 1 for 4 with a 2-run homer. Young in the Nats 2-run second had a 1-out 2-run homer to left field for a 2-1 Nats lead despite having been down in the count at 1.12. Is anything with any individual Nats player right now as stunning as the home run surge for Jacob Young. He came into this regular season with 5 home runs over 1,006 career MLB regular season plate appearances. Young in this regular season now has 8 home runs over 205 plate appearances. He is tied for 3rd on the Nats in home runs. So the person with whom he's tied is Curtis Mead. Mead, as the Nats starting 3rd baseman and number 3 batter, went 2 for 4 with an RBI single and another single. Mead in the Nats 1-run third had a 2-out RBI single to left field for a 3-1 Nats lead despite having been down in the count at 1.12. But he got thrown out in his attempt to advance to second base. And speaking of outs on the base paths, Nasim Nunez, he is the Nats starting second baseman and number 9 batter, went 1 for 2 with a single, but he got thrown out in an attempted steal of second base. Nunez in the bottom of the 5th had a 2-out single to center field on a 1-2 pitch, but he, with James Wood batting, got thrown out in an attempted steal of second base for the 3rd out. Look, Nunez has outstanding speed. Overall has been so good on stolen bases, 22 for 25 in this regular season. I don't want to hammer him too hard here, but, you can't have that happen, man. You can't get thrown out with the team's best batter, James Wood, batting. That's a no-no. That can't happen. And yet that did happen. Game 2 for the Nats against the Marlins at Nationals Park. Tuesday evening at 6:45. The Nats have listed Miles Mikolas as their probable starting pitcher for the game. Look, choosing life insurance is tricky. Heck, life insurance as a topic can be uncomfortable, but Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. You can get up to $3 million in coverage. Some policies are as low as $30 a month. You'll get your lowest rate from Ethos' network of trusted carriers. And know this, Ethos has a rating of 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 4,000 reviews. Take 10 minutes today to get covered with life insurance through Ethos. Get your free quote at ethos.com/Al Galdi. That's ethos.com/Al Galdi. Ethos.com/Al Galdi. Application times may vary. Rates may vary.
With With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.
You can always email me, the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Mark, writes Mark. Al, living in Florida as I do, I'm not aware whether this story received local attention in D.C. or not. The story is very crass at a minimum and not a good look for the organization. Thank you for the email, Mark. And included in Mark's email is a link to a story about the situation with the Washington Nationals and their now former director of community relations. We this past Friday afternoon learned that the Nats had fired Director of Community Relations Sean Hudson, this off him being secretly recorded while discussing the Nats' supposed internal thinking on a variety of issues. He was recorded while talking in a public setting with an undercover person from the O'Keefe Media Group, which was founded by James O'Keefe. The video documenting this conversation with Hudson has gone viral, has generated millions of views on X. I had held off on talking about this because I wanted to see if there was any pushback on the legitimacy of the video. Not that the video was fake, but that the video might have been selectively edited or something like that. Well, there has been no pushback from the Nats on the legitimacy of this video. They fired this guy, Sean Hudson, as his comments, as best as we can tell, were not selectively edited or anything like that. And the Nats president of business operations, Jason Sinaraja, he actually went on the Nationals.TV pregame show this past Friday evening to discuss the firing of Sean Hudson. So yeah, the Nats do believe in the legitimacy of this video. I know that there has been some conversation about this O'Keefe Media Group and hey, this is a right-wing group that puts out fake news and that this video of Hudson was fake news. Well, the Nationals quite clearly do not believe that the video was fake news, although Sinaraja, in his appearance on the Nationals.TV pregame show on Friday evening, did say that a lot of what Hudson said was incorrect. I am not going to go through everything that Sean Hudson said, but the most notable thing that he said was about Nats pitcher Trevor Williams, calling him, quote, very Catholic, end quote. And saying that he's not included in Nats social media bits because of something from 3 years ago. May 2023, Trevor Williams on Twitter spoke out against the Los Angeles Dodgers honoring a group called the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence at a Pride Night celebration in June 2023. The Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence, I read to you from their official website, quote, the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence are a leading edge order of queer and trans nuns. We believe all people have a right to express their unique joy and beauty, end quote. Trevor Williams' point was that the people in the group dressing up as nuns was offensive to Catholics. Well, according to Sean Hudson, this led to the Nats not including Trevor Williams in social media bits, although the Nats have denied this. I read to you from a piece co-authored by Nats insider Spencer Nussbaum of The Athletic and senior MLB writer Britt Giroli of The Athletic. The piece came out this past Friday afternoon. Quote, earlier this week, a spokesperson for the Nationals said the team had issued no such directive regarding Williams, noting that the pitcher is currently injured and has been featured in posts over the past couple of seasons. Hudson is also not on the National social team, end quote. I would just say this. If what Sean Hudson said about the Nats' treatment of Trevor Williams is true, then shame on the Nats. I mean, that's really bad. Trevor Williams does not deserve to be treated that way. No person on the basis of his or her religion, whatever it is, deserves to be treated that way. Christians, Jews, Muslims, whatever. But again, we don't know if what Hudson said about the Nats' treatment of Williams is true. And the Nats deny that this is true. And know this, the Nats president of business operations, Jason Sinaraja, he himself is Catholic. So it'd be pretty ridiculous for a business department led by him to discriminate against Catholics. I guess you never say never, but that would be a pretty odd deal. As some of you may know, I myself am Catholic. My son just had his first communion last month. I can't say that I know of any Catholics who discriminate against Catholics. That would be a really weird way of behaving. Now, the Nats did just hire Sinaraja this past January 6th, so I suppose it could be the case that the discrimination against Trevor Williams was happening prior to the arrival of Sinaraja in the Nats organization. But anyway, take a listen for yourself. Here was Jason Sinaraja with Alexa Dat on Nationals.tv this past Friday evening.
It's important for us to address with our fans head on and be open and transparent about what happened. First off, I want to say unequivocally, we're not anti-Catholic. I myself am Catholic. We do not track people's Google search history. We do not hide players from social media. Even just last week, we featured several players, including Trevor Williams, actually, on Instagram as part of their visit to the Museum of the Bible. All that being said, we're horrified by the comments that were made on the video. The comments don't reflect us as an organization, our values, and who we are. We took action right away, and the individual is no longer employed by the team. I think I want to also take a minute and apologize to Trevor Williams, who's been brought into this. We feel awful that he's been dragged into this situation, and hope that this isn't been a distraction as he gets ready to get back on the field, which we're excited to have him back on. Trevor's a valued member of the organization. We've been proud to support him both on and off the field, including recognizing him last year as our Roberto Clemente Award honoree. So I think it's important our fans understand that and hear from me directly on this one.
Jason, we really appreciate you being transparent and honest and coming on the show and addressing this for the Nationals fans.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, I think it's important our fans, that watch this broadcast, fans that follow this team, know our actions day in and day out, year after year. We champion our players, what's important to them. We stand by them. Baseball's a great unifier that brings everybody together regardless of religion or anything like that. So, we're going to continue to make this ballpark a welcoming place. It's what we strive to do. And again, apologies to anything about that's been offended by this, but that wasn't, this is not indicative of how we are as an organization.
All right. I thought that Jason Sinaraja came across well in what he said there. Trevor Williams, by the way, has yet to pitch for the Nats this season. He has been on the 60-day injured list since February 10th as he continues to recover from an internal brace procedure to repair his partially torn UCL in his right elbow. He underwent that procedure last July 17th. By the way, if this Sean Hudson scenario sounds familiar, it should. September 2024, the Washington Commanders fired Vice President of Content Raul Entine. This off him being caught via video making derogatory remarks about Washington Commanders fans, Washington Commanders players, Dallas Cowboys owner, president, and general manager Jerry Jones, and NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. This guy, Entine, hit for the cycle. He insulted fans, players, Jerry Jones, and Roger Goodell. Entine was on what he thought was a date, but he was actually being recorded by O'Keefe Media. So, second time in 2 years that O'Keefe Media has cost an executive in big-time Washington, D.C. sports his job. I have to tell you, I am not a huge fan of gotcha journalism. It's one thing if you secretly record someone in order to catch a person guilty of a serious crime, but secretly recording someone for saying stupid stuff while he's drinking and is on what he thinks is a date and maybe doesn't even totally believe everything that he's saying, just embarrass him and get him fired. I don't know. I don't love that. And if you watch the video of Raul Entine, there was an element of entrapment going on. I don't know if that was as much the case with this guy, Sean Hudson, but he appeared to be on what he thought was a date, may well have been drinking, may well have been wanting to come off like a big shot, and may well have said a bunch of stuff that just isn't true. If the thing about Trevor Williams is true, then again, shame on the Nats. I mean, that would cause me to lose a lot of respect for the organization, but I'm not convinced that the Trevor Williams thing is true. Jason Sinaraja, the Nats president of business operations, he himself is Catholic. And as Sinaraja pointed out, Williams has not been banned from being featured on that social media. We live in a time in which it is harder than ever to figure out what is true and what is false, what is real and what is fake, what is worthy of outrage and what is a nothing burger. Because of the nature of social media, because of the rise of AI, because of how divided we are politically, I mean, good luck these days figuring out what's legit versus what's phony, what you should believe versus what you should dismiss. If more comes out about the Nats being a bad organization, I'll have no problem being critical of them. But for now, this situation may well have been a rogue employee saying a bunch of stuff that he may or may not have believed, but that just isn't true. And that'll do it for you and me for now, but there's more to come. Wednesday's show, episode 1339, will include a lot for you on the Washington Commanders as they on Tuesday are beginning their second of three-day sessions of OTAs this offseason. Also on Wednesday's show, I'll talk Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles. The Nats are home to the Miami Marlins Tuesday evening at 6:45 for Game 2 of a 3-game series. The O's are at the Boston Red Sox Tuesday evening at 6:45 for Game 1 of a 3-game series. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
So in honor of the shirt, F them picks, we'll use them to go win more Super Bowls.
With the new My Lowe's Pro Rewards American Express card, earn 3 points per dollar spent on Lowe's qualifying purchases for the first 6 months after card account opening. Plus, save 5% every day on eligible purchases at Lowe's and earn points on eligible purchases everywhere else Amex is accepted. Card members get more at Lowe's. Subject to credit approval. 5% can't be combined with any other offer. Exclusions and restrictions apply. Points subject to loyalty terms at Lowe's.com/terms and credit reward terms at Synchrony.com/MLPRA-terms. Visit Lowe's.com/business credit.